Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and our show today is The Corner Bookstore. Joining me is the star of our show. Her name is DIANN FLOYD BOEHM. DIANN is truly an incredible person. She is a dear friend. She's brought so many people to this platform at the same time, putting out incredible, exceptional, award-winning books that are really for children and young adults. Let's find out what she's been up to. DIANN, come on out.
Hi, Dr. Jacalyn. Great to see you.
Great to see you as well. Where in the world are you today?
Today I am in Northern Virginia, but just for about 4 more days.
Okay. I'm always hoping that when I'm up in that area, you'll be up in that area and we could actually meet in person.
I can't wait till that day happens.
I hope it happens in the next few months. Will you be back up there again or not for a while?
If I have it my way, I won't be back for a while. I just want to be home, planting in the garden and things like that. So
yeah, it's hard to not feel settled and at the same time be creative. It really kind of affects us, doesn't it?
It sure does. It sure does. But I feel very blessed because what brings me here is my family, my young adult children. They're not children, young adults, I guess I have to say. And spending time with them is very special. So I am always feel blessed that I get to do that. It's really hard on families when everybody goes all different ways, going after their dreams. But as a parent, my husband and I, we really encouraged our kids to follow their dreams, that this is their life,
Yeah, that's true. You want them to be independent and at the same time, you still want to be able to see them and spend time with them.
Right, exactly. So anyway.
Yeah, so I want to let our audience know that we are supposed to have a guest today, a USA Today bestselling author, DC Gomez, who is not here as of yet. So the show must go on. We hope DC shows up, but if not, we will have plenty to discuss. So DIANN, when did you realize that you had this creativity, this passion for the power of the pen or the click of the keyboard?
A combination, actually. Yeah. Dr. Jacalyn, for your listeners, I have always been a storyteller. You can ask my mom the moment I learned how to put all those words together. I was like, la, 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 telling them things. And so I've been on stage and been in front of audiences telling stories. And anyway, one day it came to me working in the garden that I needed to put my stories to print. And I was like, the angels are talking to me. I think they're right. And so that started this whole new world and adventure. And oh my goodness, what a journey it is, as you well know. Just because you've written a story doesn't mean it gets published.
That's true. And I think it's also interesting, just because you've written a story and maybe it's got an award doesn't mean you're making any money. So that's what I found. DIANN, this is so crazy. Yesterday we had a show. I was about to go live and I had a bunch of tabs open. So I thought, let me close them so they're not making dinging and binging noises. So one of them was Amazon, and it was this book, the third book in the children's series, Lady Ella Has the Afternoon Tea in London. So I looked at it, had the little flag, Amazon #1 new release. And I was like, what are the odds that I would go to that tab and look at it? Because normally I just close them down, but this book hit #1 new release last month as well. So anyway, the point is that doesn't mean that I'm making any money. That doesn't mean that at all, but it is nice to have the distinction, but I'm not going to be able to take that to pay any bills. But still,
That's true. But it is an achievement. It is an achievement. And not many authors, I mean, just think of the thousands of authors there are in the world, and really like hundreds of thousands, and do not get that distinction. So congratulations. But for those people who are listening and even thought about becoming, an author, putting some of your stories to print, just know you want to do it because it's in your heart, it's in your gut, and you really want that story out. But if you're doing it because you think, oh, I'm going to write the next movie, you should not be writing a story.
I totally agree with you. And that being said, we have a new book series coming out. It's going to be Dr. Madeline Chan and myself, and we already have the first book of 7. So I still keep going because it does bring joy. And one of the best things was the book I just showed you. My mother read it to me the other night, and it brought tears to my eyes because she read it so well, and she read it with a lot of inflection in her voice, and she really enjoyed it.
That is so, so special.
It is.
You're very, very lucky.
I was going to film it, but
yeah.
I know it's hard. So you have a new project. You're also working with an additional team. What do you have? 3 teams of people you work with now?
No, isn't that amazing?
Yes.
And again, everybody listening, as Dr. Jacalyn says, she has it in the fire in the gut, and she's writing the stories because they're there, and she has the passion to share for everyone how to become a good listener, especially for little ones. And that's what it is, that fire in the gut. And so I went from rejection to yes. I couldn't believe it. I was like singing at a high pitch like that, to all of a sudden having 3 publishers. And I'm so lucky because all the publishers have no problem with having me being published in different with different people, because I'm at the age that I'm thinking, every day is an extra blessing. So, which I guess we should always be thinking of. But I'm like, I want these stories out. So I'm just like, okay, will you do this one, this one, this one? And they all say yes. And I'm like, oh.
Oh, I love that. That's fantastic. Diann, for people who are interested in getting their books published, what would you say are the main benefits of each of the 3 teams you're working with? You don't have to say their names if you don't want to, but are there certain benefits?
Yeah, I'll be happy to. So I'll share with OC Publishing and Texas Sister Press. They're a hybrid publisher, and that's fairly new. Maybe they've been hybrid publishings, come around in the last 10 years or so. And for everyone listening, what that means is that you work together to be published, so that you're putting in money and you're investing in your story, and they're investing in making it happen. So they're doing all the grunt work of, okay, the editing, finding the person to do the cover, the illustrator, and then you're paying for them to do that grunt work as well as the illustrator. At least that's the case in the 2 people that I work with, OC Publishing and Texas Sister Press. Norns Triad is these 3 incredibly gorgeous women who are so wonderful to work with, and they are a traditional publisher. And I'm just so thrilled because in July it will be my first book that'll be published with them. And in traditional publishers, they pay everything up front, and then you get a percentage of whatever they make from the books that sell. And this particular publishing company does a lot of marketing, which takes a lot off of my shoulders as well. So I hope that answers it in a nutshell.
Yes, it definitely does. Because I think that's one thing, if you're a new author, that you might not realize. It's not just about the writing. it's about the editing, it's about the publishing, it's about the marketing. And once the book is out there, and we move on to the next thing, we still want to be able to sell our original books. And then we might have to go back and redo a cover, or we might need a new marketing campaign. So I don't know. What are your thoughts about that? When you think about the first book you wrote, do you still have an interest in having people purchase it, or are you always on to the next one?
Oh no, I'm interested in them always purchasing the books because they each have such a special message. And actually, you brought up something really great, Dr. Jacalyn, that you can change the cover of your book or maybe some of the wordings in the story to update it, and then just have a new relaunch. And that's something that I'm definitely going to do. My very first book, The Little Girl in the Moon, I'm still getting great compliments on that. And actually, one magazine, they love that book more than anything. And I'm thinking about how much I've improved as a writer, but they just love the message of that story about even if you're different, you can still find your very best friend if you love one another. So that's, yeah, I'm very much want to keep going with all my books for people to discover with the messages.
Yeah, it's important, I think. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry. And the other thing you brought up, which was really important, is so I'm going to have an article coming out in April. And I wrote this article, and it's called The Beast. And social media, what you just brought up, Dr. Jacalyn, I had no idea. Okay, yeah, my book's published. Yay, look at it. Isn't it beautiful? Okay, I have to do what? And the social media marketing is unbelievable. And there was so much that I had to learn. So I'm excited about this article coming out that I hope helps other authors, especially young ones just trying out the waters about the beast and how I overcame the beast of marketing.
I love that. That's a great title. And it really is an important topic. And something I've shared before is that I've been approached by people on social media that they want to promote my books, and it's a certain amount of money. And in exchange, I'm going to get X number of authentic reviews on Goodreads and Amazon. And I actually sent them the money, and nothing happened. And it was about 2 months and nothing happened. They gave me my money back, but it taught me a lesson, which is they have to be authentic. It has to be authentic people reading it. And what I do find as an author that's a little, I want to say daunting, is sometimes you'll go and you'll see people have tens of thousands or millions of reviews. And I'm thinking, oh, I have 10, I have 7. Like it's, and I wonder, are they using people like that in this whole marketing beast? Are they really authentic reviews? I mean, it's hard to get anybody to leave a review anyway. I know for me that I've tried to leave reviews on Amazon, for example, and they wouldn't accept it. So I don't know how to figure it out. How do we go from a few reviews to many reviews?
I know that's a great question. And, personally, I've written some reviews for you, and I'm like, why isn't that review up? And I know it's written really well and it's so honest and truthful, So I think I'm going to actually start going to video reviews. Video reviews tend to be, people enjoy watching video reviews. That's like the whole new thing now. And so I don't be surprised if you get a video review soon. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
What's interesting, Diane, is that I've tried to leave video reviews and they haven't been accepted either. And I know Amazon has you have to spend a certain amount of money on their platform, which I more than do. So I'm not sure what the key is, and there's no one to speak to, because I actually did call KDP Amazon, and I did speak with someone, and they said that they have certain algorithms and there's certain rules, but they weren't sure what they were. So I ended up with no information that was viable.
Oh, that's really weird. And I spend a lot on Amazon, so I don't know the question of that. But I will say, a lot of people who do have the money, they pay people to put in reviews, and that's how they have like 1,000 reviews. So,
and also you as a person can get paid to do reviews.
That's true. You can.
Yeah. We've had
But,
people
you
on
know,
here.
that's a whole different beast all in itself, is to get someone who's truly going to read your book. And children's books are a little easier because they're not so long. And so generally the reviewers will have read it. But when it's, a novel or something, you can tell if someone's actually read the book. So,
Yeah, that's a very good point. So what are you working on now, Diann?
Well, it's still a secret, but probably in about 2 weeks, we will announce the name of the new book. We're just waiting for the cover to come through, but it is a children's book, and I'm very, very excited about that. And I can say the book will come out in July. The other thing I'm working on is, as you see in everybody watching, you can see the cover with a beautiful young lady's face on it. That's Rise, A Girl's Struggle for More. The publisher has it. We have worked on the first edit, and she's reading through all the changes I made for improvement, and I'm sure I'm going to get back. Okay, this looks good, but now it's time for the second edit. But it'll be coming along, and we hope to have it out in the fall. So that's very exciting because it takes years to write a historical fiction.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. That is exciting. Tell us a little bit more about the level of research, because people are going to be checking to see if you have your facts correct. So
that's so true.
yeah, how do you know when you've done enough research? When do you say to yourself, okay, I think I nailed this, let me move on?
That's an excellent question. First of all, OC Publishing, they have an editor who specializes as a historical fiction reviewer, or editor, I should say. And before anything gets published, that person scans through every single section and double checks to see what that is like. And I remember the first time that happened, I was like, oh my gosh. And she was like, you were right on the money with everything. And I really thought I was going to get one. So that was exciting. I do triple the research. I wished I would have been this good of a researcher in high school, but the internet makes it a little bit easier and makes it fun to find everything. And I get carried away because I find the facts so interesting, and the world of this is in the late 1920s now we're talking about, and what women went through, and just what everyone was going through that was leading up to the bank crisis. Just funny, some bank had a crisis just recently, and
Yes.
And so I end up finding one fact after another, and I make little notes to myself. And then finally, like you said, like, how do you know enough's enough? My brain just says, okay, Diann, you need to get going. So then I go on.
I love that. So you're talking to yourself and you're listening.
Yeah, and I'm listening lazy.
It's so funny, Diann. For the third book, the Afternoon Tea book, we actually wrote a song, Mariska, Madeline, and myself. And what I learned from the second book with Listening Lazies is, and I don't have it right here, but the sheet music, which is included in the book, has 5 flats in it. So for a child learning to play the piano, that's a tall order to learn how to play 5 flats. So we didn't put the sheet music in the third book because it was too difficult for kids to play. So that's something that I've learned, and I have to work on it, and then we'll redo that, the version of the book, so that you can get it with the music.
Oh, that's nice. And yeah, 5 flats is difficult, but the mom or dad might play it, or the grandma or someone. So you never know.
True.
But for those listening, I mean, the songs are amazing, and Listening Lazy, oh my gosh, it is so peppy. And Dr. Jacalyn, and for the listeners, we were celebrating Dr. Jacalyn's birthday the other day, which was so exciting. And Madeline made a great point about the vibration of music for today compared to the days of when kids were singing Mary Had a Little Lamb or London Bridge and things like that, which all have their place. But listening lazy, it's exciting and just everything bubbly behind the music, plus the words, of course. So I really want to tell you, great job.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Just as an aside, we were talking about making money as an author. So Listening Lazies is available on all the major music platforms. And I got an email that we have earned royalties for the first quarter. And the total royalties are 39 cents.
But you know what? Frame it. It's 39 cents more than somebody else got.
And they don't pay out until you get to $25. So I think that's really funny. It's really funny. So.
But still, that's great. And anyone listening, if you're thinking, oh my gosh, how can I get my kid to listen to me? This is a book for you. It not only will help you as a parent or a teacher or whatever your role is in working with young people, but it also helps the kids have a great focus on how to listen to their friends. And Dr. Jacalyn, I really commend you because, you used different animals. Can you tell everybody about how you came about selecting the animals or even the concept is amazing.
Well, thanks, Diane. Yeah, I appreciate it. So I feel like I really wasn't listened to by a number of people in my life through my career. And I found that I was the one who was always doing the listening, and people would just rather tell me their story than listen to mine. And many times during my life, people would say, "You're such a good listener." And I would think, well, I don't know if I'm such a good listener, but nobody wants to listen to me. So I'll just listen to everyone else. So decided to put this course together, The Power of Listening, and used various people on our team, directing them in role plays, which it's been well over a year since that course was created. So I really need to update it. But then I don't even know, I started thinking about if we learned how to listen as a child, that could really help us in so many ways, because in coaching people on how to listen and watching the role plays people were doing, it was really true to life. And Hyatt Ives has shared this, he was on and his wife Linda was on, and they were basically saying that the role plays that they were acting out in terms of listening is really what goes on in their home. And I think that's what we find, is that we get into these dysfunctional patterns of behavior and we're not really listening to each other. So I started thinking, what is a good way to influence children? And children like animals. So I just think I put together a survey and I sent it out to the people who took The Power of Listening, saying, would you like to be involved in this book project? And you were one of the first people to say yes. And I actually have the first book here, which is the name of the title of the series, The Amazing Adventures of Lady Ella, the Listening Mentor. And of course, I'm the Ladybug, the Listening Mentor, representing my great niece. And she's here in her little ladybug costume, and then everybody else she's so cute, and you're here as Zell the gazelle. And then I thought to myself, to be honest, it's expensive to publish a book. And so I thought, how can I get people involved and help them continue with their listening skills and also defray some of the cost? And so I came up with thresholds of engagement. So if you want to be the main star, you want to be best friend, you want to be supporting. And so it really took off and people were interested, and we put the first book together. And then after the first book, I think some people were thinking, that was great, I'm going to put my money somewhere else, I'm going to do something else. And so we had some new people come on board. And then the same thing for the third book. And I really just want to share this one picture. I think it's in this book, could be in the other one. This is Lady Ella reading the second book. Is that the cutest thing you've ever seen?
It's adorable.
And then having my mom read it, and it's just, I don't know. When I look at the book covers and I see the animal characters on there, I'm thinking, you know what? That was so great that Philip decided to do this project, or Mimi, or you. It feels just like it's more than just me. It's a team of people who want to help children learn how to listen. And then, as you know, in the back of the book, there's a place for each person's headshot and then their bio and then their links so that they can get the credit that's deserved, and hopefully people will reach out and connect with them or do business with them.
That is such a kind touch that you did, because you didn't have to do that. And I want to personally thank you. But, your books, could you go ahead and name the 3 titles that you have so people know?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. The other one is out in the other room, but it's The Amazing Adventures of Lady Ella, the Listening Mentor. The second one is Lady Ella's ABCs of Listening. And the third is Lady Ella Has Afternoon Tea in London. The fourth book is already finished, and that has not been released. Let me see if I can find the cover, but that's already become an Amazon #1 new release. And that one is The Ocean Calls and Lady Ella Listens. So this specific one is not only about listening, but it's also to teach children about the ramifications of polluting the ocean.
That is amazing. And these are great for the classroom as well. I know if these had been around when I was teaching elementary school, they would have definitely been on my desk, and I would have told every single parent about these books for sure. So
thanks, Diane. And you're in this book, Diane. Who are you?
You said that, and I was trying to remember because originally I was going to be a dolphin, but it was already taken. So
You're the seal.
I'm the seal.
You're the seal. That's right.
So the reason it's coming back to me now. Oh, that's a song coming back to me now. Anyway.
Yeah. Do you see how Lady Ella has little sunglasses on?
Oh my gosh, it's so adorable. But I always love seals. Have you ever watched them? They just love to play and swim and so. But no, what that book's going to be amazing, and congratulations on #1. I don't know how you do it.
I'll tell you what, I put a lot of work into it, and I do a lot. Like I literally will reach out to people and say, will you please purchase the ebook? And then what I do is when I know the book's going to be released, which is in Eastern time zone, it's 3:00 in the morning. So at 3:00 in the morning, I'm up every hour on the hour checking to see if it got the new release, because it only stays up for an hour, depending on what other books are being released that day. If you think of how many books are being released. And then the other thing I'll do is, if I see that once it's like this book that I just showed you, this cover is out there and you can pre-order it now. So we already have people who have pre-ordered it, and I think that's how it got to #1 new release. But I'll watch and see, is it dropping in the categories that it's in? And then I'll go and select other categories. So the categories have to be realistic. I mean, they have to have something to do with whatever it is. But by changing the categories, you can change the percentage of opportunity for you to get that #1 new release.
Whoa, what a great secret. See, you tackled the beast.
See, you know what? In fact, what I'll do is I'll bring up Amazon right now, and I'll show people what I'm talking about. Let me see here. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. Share my screen. Okay. And so this is what I do 1,000 times a day. I go to Amazon and I put my name in. I put my name in, and then I go to the book and I see, okay, so this is the one that as of yesterday was an Amazon #1 new release. You see, it is not here anymore. There's no little banner showing that that's the case. So you scroll down here, and as of yesterday, this was #1 in children's Europe books, because this takes place in London. Today, it's 682. And you can see children's bug and spider books 1555. So this is continuing to go down because new content is coming out. So what I could do is I can go to my Amazon KDP account and I can change this topic. So can you see this? The best sellers for children? Okay. So here's what's #1 now is Elephant in the Garden. So if we look at this, okay, this is a #1 bestseller in children's Europe books. So obviously this kicked us out, right? Because this took over. Now, if we scroll down and see what other categories this person's in, okay, they're in children's military fiction and children's elephant books, and they're doing very well in all 3 of those categories. That's really impressive. So we would think this has something to do with the military, because otherwise it shouldn't be in here. But anyway, so that's something that you can do. You can go and change. So let me go back. Or is it still taking you back?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the second book. And let's see where this is. The ABCs of Listening. So this has three people took the time to rate it, which is nice. I appreciate all that. We come down here and we see this was also number 1. And now look at it, 2,185. This is also in the children's bug and spider books, which is the last one was too. So that's a mistake on my part, because why do I want to, how am I trying to get number 1 bestseller if I have 2 books in the same category? Because I'm competing against myself.
Correct.
See what I mean? Okay.
Yeah.
So then if we go down to, let's just go down to one of these other books. Okay. Let's go to this one, the one that's not out yet. Okay. So this is not going to give us an opportunity to see the categories, I don't think, because it's not, oh, maybe. So it is. Look at this. Wrong.
Oh, look.
Children's environmental books. Children. So now this is a really bad choice. Children's sword and sorcery fantasy books. That is really a bad choice. So I'm going to go back to each one of these and I'm going to update them, but it's going to take, it can take up to 72 hours. Let's look at this
one. For it to kick in. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. This book came out. This was my second book, I think. So this is number 493 in sexual addiction and recovery and 991 in sexual health recovery, which is pretty good because I put this book out in April of 2022. So anyway, that's basically part of what I do to keep the books relevant. So you can see there that all of the children's books, I need to go and change the categories. But there's only so many categories that make sense. You know,
yes,
you can't
that's exactly right.
You can't mislead people by putting categories that don't make sense. So at some point, I just say to myself, we got the number 1 status, move on next.
Right, exactly. But no, you're very smart, and I actually need to do my categories as well. And I don't know if you're using this software called Rocket that helps you see how to select categories and so forth.
No.
That has helped me a lot. So for those listening, it's a software called Rocket, and they help you figure out how to select the right categories. And because you think, oh, children's books. But if you just say children's books, as you know, Dr. Jacalyn, well, you know, you're saying 20 million people are using that one. So you do have to be very specific. So like you said, listening skills, you know, or animal life, sea life, things like that. Scale it way down so that the competition isn't as competitive, so to speak.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah,
I love that. So I'm going to look into Rocket.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to share a little bit about Lady Ella. So she went to Gentle Farm, then she went to the School of Joy, then she went to London for afternoon tea. Now she's going to the ocean. And after she leaves the ocean, she's going to safari. And she's going to end up after safari, she's going to outer space. And then in the last book, she's actually going to come home with her family. So Lady Ella, the real Lady Ella, belongs to a family, which is my sister's son and his wife. And so all of the animals in the last book are going to be my family members.
Oh, that's really cool.
Once that series is finished, which will be this year, we're already launching the second series, which is, I'm not going to say the name, but the first book is Lady Ella with all the book covers from the 7 books in the first series. And she's just kind of relaxing and appreciating her trip. And then she has this really cool phone, which I'm not going to say what the phone looks like. And she gets a call on her app, and it's Mother Earth calling her. And Mother Earth wants to congratulate her for the great job that she did. But Father Universe gave Mother Earth a physical, and her report wasn't very good. And there are certain areas that are literally dying. And that if Mother Earth doesn't get help in these areas, then the earth as we know it will no longer be. So Lady Ella has to decide if she's up for this journey, but she knows she can do it, but she needs some help. So we have new people coming in, new animal characters, which I'm not going to say who or what they are. And together they travel to 7 places, 7 books, and they help to save Mother Earth.
Oh my God, I have chills. That's incredible. We'll have to talk offline maybe about the outer space one, because until you said that, my brain was like, oh, she needs to go to outer space. Maybe she can be with the Moonling kids. So we might have to talk.
Yes, that would be great, Diann. I love that. That's
I think I have, let me see, get something. See, I have the cover of, it's hard to see, the Moonlings. Let's see, it's hard to do with the green screen, but you know, the Moonlings and their adventures, and they went to Africa and met all the different animals. So
oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Anyway, that is so cool. And
what
yay for you and Mother Earth.
When I tell you what the phone is, Diann, you're not going to believe it. And something I'll tell you offline, because, you know, I would just say it now, but there could be somebody out there who decides to do it themselves. So
yeah, that's right. You have to be very careful. So yeah, you have to be very, very careful. You know, it's like all of a sudden you go to the movies and you like, well, we watch this movie, and then you let me just say, I love to go to the movies. Of course, COVID kind of changed all that, so I watch so much at home now. But to me, there's some movies like Top Gun you just have to see in the theater to get that 3D experience and everything. But you could go to one movie and then you think, oh, I'm going to go check out this other movie. And then you go to that one, you're like, it's the same exact storyline. And you wonder, how did they do that?
Yeah,
I mean, the characters are the same. It's not just, you know, A, B, C, A, back again, you know, happiness. But anyway, yeah, you have to be very careful.
And isn't it sad that it's like that because you can't copyright a name of a book. And I think that's how people really try to differentiate themselves, is with the tagline.
Mm-hmm.
And my books, these children's books, they don't have any taglines. I mean, that's probably a mistake on my part. Do you have taglines for yours?
Yeah.
You do? Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, taglines are kind of important. It kind of gives more. Well, this is my version of thinking. It's not necessarily the official version. But for me, a tagline, when a parent doesn't really have enough time to sit there and, you know, go find out about a book or go read it, they just see the name and they're like, oh, that looks interesting. And then they see the tagline and like, okay, that tagline is that point of view. I love it. I'm going to get it right there. And they haven't even, you know, touched it. They just saw it online. So taglines to me are extremely important.
And Diann, you know, I'm wondering something, and I know you use publishers, so you might not know the answer to this, but I'm thinking, if you self-publish on Amazon and you go into the bookshelf, which is where you put all the information online and you put your cover, I'm wondering if you have the title in there and it's available for pre-order, for example, then people can't steal it if it's already available for pre-order, right?
Correct. That's my understanding. Right.
Yeah. Okay. If anybody's out there. By the way, one of our dear friends and team members here, Tracy Cram-Perkins, sent an email that I happened to just see, and she's watching us, which we love. And she provided the actual link to Publishers Rocket. And she writes, it's a fantastic tool. The latest update is freaking awesome. I think you will enjoy it. Thank you, Tracy.
Oh, thank you, Tracy. Yeah, I always say Rocket, but it's Rocket Publishing. Yeah. Publisher Rocket. Yeah.
Publishers Rocket, and the website is publisherrocket.com.
So. Yeah. That was so nice. Thank you, Tracy.
Thanks,
I just now have it. I don't even have it like in documents or file. The icon is literally on my desktop, and I just click it. So.
I'm actually going to go and download it myself. Have you met Tracy yet?
Just this way, not in person. Yeah.
Okay. So Tracy has her own show, which is Dementia Home Care. And she's written a book that I have a copy of, and so does my sister, Dementia Home Care. She's actually a 4-time caregiver survivor for is that right? Survivor, caregiver, survivor. I forget whichever way it is. But she's had 4 family members who've had dementia or Alzheimer's, and she's cared for them. So that's huge. That's a major commitment. Oh, she's here on LinkedIn. Hi, Tracy.
Hi, Tracy.
Thank you.
Yeah, I saw you added that show, and I thought that was phenomenal. I wish that, again, Dr. Jacalyn, yay for you. The shows that you're putting on, I mean, people need these shows. And man, I just thought, wow, wish I would have had that when I was taking care of my grandmother. So.
Well, we've had a number of people reach out to how helpful what Tracy's provided in her book, and her book's done really well. She's at the last time I heard it was 7,000 copies, but I'm sure it's way more than that. So we're really blessed that she's here on this platform. Today, Diane, I don't know if you had a chance to see it, but on our show Hot Topic, we had Paulette Everett Norman on, and her son McKay was abducted and tortured and murdered. And this was 28 years ago. And she, at the age of 72, is now doing a documentary and looking for answers and looking to do as much TV and radio. And she was referred here by someone who's been on, I don't know who it was, but it just brought the idea that crime, although this is a positive channel, we like to talk about things that are positive, but we can't be oblivious. We can't have our head in the sand and say that there aren't really horrible things going on in the world, but we can support the work of people trying to get answers. Or Paulette was providing a lot of great information about her faith. And also she had a major stroke as a result of what she was going through, and how the aspect of forgiveness is a gift that you give yourself. And she had to forgive this other person who was a friend of the family. She was a teacher and he was a teacher, the husband of it, I think, a teacher. And long story short, that's what we're about, is bringing education. So in a show like that, people could take away the fact that although something horrific, unimaginable can happen, you still have to work to find that forgiveness or to find that higher power, that calling, so that you can move on and you can share your story to help others.
Absolutely. And easier words to speak than to go through, right? But it's the only way to survive. And God bless her. And, what she's sharing is going to help so many people. And yeah, there is tragedy in the world. And I like to say, I like to keep my rose-colored glasses on, but there's sometimes you have to take it off and accept reality and figure out what you can do to help bring back some kindness, or to help a person go through the tragedy that they're going through, like with fentanyl and everything. I know people have lost loved ones, and so it is hard. And your show about mental illness, is phenomenal.
Yeah, and by the way, we just heard from our guest who's supposed to be here, so thanking me for the link. So I'm not sure when our guest thinks the show is, but maybe she'll pop up after this. I'm not sure.
Maybe she had the time. She might have had the time wrong. She's an incredible guest. So if you're listening, DC, we know we love you, and it was probably a time problem. So make sure you come back, because you have a lot to share and give to our audience. So.
For sure. And Diane, before we close out, we have another show, and we really want people to book in for this show. And I just want to apologize, because when I first created the graphic for this, it really was about people who write children's books. And Diane, you reached out to me. We had a chat. This show, Once Upon a Time, It's All for Kids, is a show that comes on right before the corner bookstore. And we're actively looking for guests, people who have something to do with helping children. It doesn't have to be an author by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, Diane, I think you had mentioned you reached out to a magician, right? Yeah.
Right,
I mean, it could be somebody who owns children's clothing store, or someone who designs toys, or someone who's a teacher, anyone who works in the field with children.
Yes, because it's all about a guide for kids. So for parents to know a one-stop shop to listen to great places and things for your kiddos. So
yeah,
I'm really excited about our show.
Yeah, I'm excited too. And you know what I think I'll do is I'm just going to go over to our website, and I want to walk people through, and then we'll um, sign off for today. I want to walk people through how to book in for one of our shows, because I know there's a confusion. People go to book your session, which is right here. Can you see it, Diane?
Yes.
Okay, because I'm over here on the website. Okay,
Yeah.
so when you come to book your session, the first thing you're going to see is information on how we can support you before and after your interview. So not everyone is a professional interviewer. Maybe you want to be. We provide coaching, we provide courses, and that's all here. So I just say to people, take a look at it. Maybe there's something here for you. And of course, we invite everyone to join our team by becoming an elevated listener. You just click there, watch the course. It's 2 hours. Okay, so here's what you get when you come to book your session. All right. Now, once you see these shows, here at the bottom, you see all. People don't go and click on the see all for some reason. So once you see all, you're going to see the rest of the shows. And then you just come down and find the one that you want to be on. And for example, let me just come down to the bottom. So you see, we have a lot of shows. So if we come up to here, Once Upon a Time. Now, see, I have to change the title, Diane. See that? That's wrong.
Yes.
Yeah, this is wrong. Maybe that's why people aren't booking in. So you come here, and the next show that's open is April the 6th. You click that. All the shows are in Eastern Standard Time. So if you're in the Pacific, if you're on the West Coast, like Tracy is, that's 3 hours earlier. If you are in Central Standard Time, that's 1 hour earlier. If you are in London, the UK, that's 5 hours later. Click on this, book. Okay, and I have to get rid of all these things in my little basket here. And you'll see this is all you have to do. Fill out this information and you're good to go.
And you're good to go. And you receive an email confirming that you're set for that particular show. So.
Absolutely. So Diane, we have something of an anomaly. Our guest, DC Gomez, is actually backstage, even though our show is over. So
it definitely was a time change. We'll have to go talk to her.
Yeah, it's a time change.
But this has been a fun show.
It has. Do you have time to stay?
Sure, I do.
All right. We are going to take a break, and then we're going to welcome DC Gomez. Normally, we would have the film and music show right now, but we don't have a guest for today. So we actually have time to bring DC out. So DC, stay with us. We're going to run a couple of sponsorships, and then we'll be right back with our show. Thank you.
Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to Story Garden. Your host, Diann BOEHM. I'm so happy to have you here today.
Diann Floyd BOEHM tells wonderful stories that warm the heart, spark the imagination, and unite people and families across generations. For children, Diann's Harry the Camel connects with all of us who've ever wondered how different our lives might have been if only we'd been born something better, like a wonderful horse instead of an ordinary camel. In the end, we all learn along with Harry that there's nothing better than just being yourself. Diane's Little Girl in the Moon looks down on earthbound children and wonders if they know she's just like them. A story of love, home, and the bond between mother and daughter, its powerful theme that we're each of us different yet all of us the same plants a seed in children that promises to blossom within a loving and trusting grown-up. Diane's new biography, Rise, recounts the experiences of her grandmother, Ruby, to reveal the hidden strength of the human spirit. Ruby's story inspires all of us to become the best versions of ourselves. You'll find all of Diane's delightful books and much more at DiannFloydBOEHM.com. Visit DIANNFLOYDBOEHM.com. That's DiannFloydBOEHM.com.
When we speak, we don't hear. It's abundantly clear. Listening lazy scripting, and nobody's gonna win. Look someone in the eye. If you don't, they surely will cry. You don't hear a word I I say, 'cause you always look straight away. Listening lazy, drive people crazy. Listening lazy is making us blue. Listening lazy, communication goes hazy. Listening lazy, listening lazy. Da 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 da. Listening lazy is driving us crazy. Listening lazy is making us blue. Listening lazy is communication goes hazy. Listening lazy is listening lazy. When you interrupt your friend, you will surely have to make amends. Lady Ella knows the way to help you listen better every day. And what's that? It's listening lazy. Ba-da-ba-ba. Listening lazy is driving us crazy. Listening lazy is making us blue. Listening lazy is communication goes hazy. Listening lazy is listening lazy. Listening lazy is driving us crazy. Listening lazy is making us blue. Listening lazy is communication goes hazy. Listening lazy is listening lazy is listening lazy.
Kapayapaan, kapayapaan, kapayapaan.
Diann Floyd BOEHM's A Song of Peace tells the story of a young lad named Tommy whose fervent wish for peace on earth touches the hearts of his friends and family, spreads to his community, and eventually unites the whole world around making his dream of peace a reality for everyone. Sit down with the children in your life and share Tommy's amazing story of love and hope. Sing your own song of peace and invite the children to join you. Tommy's tale is more than just a story. It's a movement, and everyone's warmly welcome to take part.
Kapayapaan, 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 kapayapaan.
You'll find A Song of Peace, along with many other wonderful learning and enriching opportunities for children of all ages, at DIANNFloydBOEHM.com.
Hello and welcome to USA Global TV and Radio. This is It's Your Healthy Lifestyle show, hosted by the founder of this platform, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and myself, Roland Friedl. How important is your health and fitness to you? We show you how you can easily eat healthier every day, how you can improve your fitness and recover much quicker after your exercises and workouts. Families will learn how to optimize their children's health and nutrition. And finally, you will also hear how you live a long, healthy and fit life into your old age. Join us here on It's Your Healthy Lifestyle.
to USA Global TV and Radio. This is USA Global TV and Radio. Yay! I'm so happy that we're back on the Corner Bookstore. It's actually a double header today, 2 episodes in a row. What do you think of that, Diane?
It's so exciting.
So we are here with DIANN FLOYD, who is an award-winning author. She is also a dear friend, and she is the human connector around the world. So if you ever want to meet someone or get to know someone, Diann is the person to reach out to. Diann, tell us a little bit about your work as an author, and then we're going to bring out our special guest on the Corner Bookstore.
I'm sure, I'll be happy to. So I love to write children's books and young adult historical fiction. And my books are basically about love, kindness, love yourself, be kind to others, embrace imagination, and to go after your dreams. So that's it in a nutshell, Dr. Jacalyn.
So beautiful. Thank you, Diann. Let us welcome, we're super excited to have her. She is a USA Today award-winning, best-selling author. Her name is DC Gomez. DC is an author in many genres. Let's find out what is going on with DC Gomez. Welcome to our program.
Good afternoon. Hello, ladies. I'm so excited to be here. I officially realized I can't manage time zones, so by the looks of it, it's not my strength today by the looks of it. So I do apologize, but I'm here, I swear.
No, that's okay. You know, DC, the thing that's kind of cool is because we are a global platform, people are coming from all different parts of the world. And this is one area where there's always some kind of issue. What time is it? So you made it and we're here. So we're happy to have you. Where in the world are you joining us from today?
I'm actually in East Texas, so I'm in the border of Texas and Arkansas. So I say I'm in a small town, and everybody who lives here looks at me like I'm crazy. So I'm in Texarkana, so it's super, super fun.
Fantastic.
I love
Diann's also a
Texarkana.
Texan.
And Texarkana is a great city.
It is.
Yeah. So DC, I'm super excited. I have your website pulled up. We're going to get to it. But when did you realize that you had this passion for writing and creating?
Usually I kind of explain to everybody, a lot of people say, were you born wanting to write a book? I'm actually since I can remember, been a storyteller. And my passion when I was younger was to actually do film and television. I wanted to write stories. I wanted to write scripts. And it wasn't until about 6 years ago that I found myself making a giant shift. I was living the life that everybody says, you live the American dream, you're doing all the right things, you do the job, you're everything you're supposed to, and then you still find yourself kind of sick and tired, and you're miserable, and you finding yourself not following your true purpose. I was very much into corporate America. I was following that career path because I thought that's what I was supposed to be doing at the time. And then I realized I'm missing something. There's something in my soul that is not there. It is literally following the purpose. So I went back and did tons of reassessment to find out that I wasn't doing anything creative. I wasn't following my passion, and ended up starting to write. So that's kind of how that shift in my world happened.
Fantastic. I really appreciate what you just shared because there's so many of us. I was in corporate also going, what am I doing? And by the way, I love everyone in corporate. Thank you for the 28 years. It's wonderful. Nothing bad to say. But we have that moment. It's like, wow, I have this creative energy and I really don't have any place to put it. So you could have put it in many places, right? It didn't have to be in writing. Why did you pick this particular venue?
It made so much sense to my soul because I do love storytelling. I love creating a world. And when it came to writing, it gave me all the options that I wanted in terms of writing scripts and in terms of writing stories. And I could do it all from the comfort of my home. I didn't have to travel. I didn't have to go somewhere. I didn't get a big team to pull it off. And I could seriously create the stories that really were burning in my soul to come up with. And sometimes I think that's something that we miss in terms of storytelling because we think we need to have a huge complex operation when in fact you can do it from your home. You can do it from your couch. The writing part is easy, I think. The publishing becomes a whole different world, but the sitting down, the writing the story, the creating these mediums. And I started doing urban fantasy because it's kind of my favorite genre to read myself. So yeah, that's kind of how that baby felt.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. If you could just give our audience a little bit of background, what is urban fantasy?
So it comes with a disclaimer because everybody goes, what does that mean? So when you think of fantasy, you're thinking of magic. You think of the paranormal world. Urban fantasy is stories that takes place in a contemporary city. So it's going to be current day. So for me, because I live in Texarkana and I'm in the middle of nowhere and everything, my ground for playing starts in Texarkana. So you pick a city that everybody kind of can find. You can do a Google search, and then you start adding different elements to magic. So my urban fantasy series, or my universe, which is called the Reverse Universe, starts out very mundane. You literally introduce the magic through the eyes of my main character, Isis Black, and then you slowly walk with her to learn more. So it's based on the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, and you meet death, and death happens to be in the form of a human being. So urban gives you the whole contemporary world, and then you add the magic into it. So for people who don't want the huge epic fantasy, urban gives you a little bit more of that in between. You get the action, you get the magic, you get the adventure, and you still can kind of say, oh, this happened in New York, or this happened in London, wherever you want to be.
How exciting. Thank you so much. Diann?
Hi, DC. We know each other, so it's so great to have you on this show. So, yeah, I'm always amazed at this urban fantasy. You know, it's such a different genre from children, and it's so cool how you just come up with your ideas. Can you share about how you come up with them? Because I'm just always blown away.
Everything for me, it literally is just a spark. I usually have probably the first chapter or the first scene comes into my mind. I can tell you one of the most bizarre and craziest and fun. I have a new series coming out. It's still urban fantasy with a touch of dystopia. If you want to look at it, it is 60 years in the future. And the reason it came out, because I live in Texas, and I usually joke that my neighborhood is obsessed with grass cutting. We literally can make this an Olympic sport. We're really good at it. I'm horrible. I'm allergic to everything. And it was a Sunday morning, and I remember thinking about it. This idea came of a woman outside watching zombies cut the lawn. That was it. Just because I hate to cut the lawn. It's like, if I could outsource lawn, to who would it be? And honestly sparked this whole entire series. So The Recruited is based on this idea that if the world fell apart and you had an apocalypse and all you had was zombies left, she is literally a witch, and she has her familiar of a cat that happens to be a necromancer and controls the zombies so they can do landscaping. So this entire story kind of evolved from there. So when it comes to ideas, anything can start it. And it always goes back to the what if. What if this was a thing? How do we run with it? And how do you make this universe and this world make sense to people?
Exciting. Thanks, DC. Diann and I were talking on this show before this, for people who aren't aware, that if you set your heart on being an author, that doesn't mean you're going to win awards, and it doesn't mean you're going to get rich. And so people do it for their own reasons. Are you doing it for the awards, for the money, for both, or for something else?
Honestly, I started out because there was honestly a hole in my soul that needed to be filled. That's kind of the extent of how I started doing it. I needed to write. I needed to create. I needed to put these words out there. I published because I thought, hey, everybody honestly has that bucket list. We want to publish a book. Everybody doesn't have to do it. It's one of those things. I didn't plan to do more than one. I honestly thought I was going to write this book and it was going to be the end, and we're going to move on to something else. I had somebody at work at the time say, why are you not promoting this? Why are you not telling this? She's like, I'm an avid reader. This book's amazing. Why are you not telling people? And that's kind of what gave me the confidence to say, okay, do I want to do more? And because I'm an extremist, so if I'm going to be in, it's all in, it's not going to be half. Then I was like, can I make this a business? Can I truly take my passion and make it that is competitive? Make it that it can win awards, that people can buy it, that it can be accessible. So transition from one book because I needed an outlet to survive and my creative side would blossom, to now going from, okay, I have 19 books, there is an Etsy store, there's a podcast, there's all these things that come. It doesn't have to be the journey for everybody. You don't have to follow. The beautiful thing about being an author is all sides don't fit all. You can pick your own path and decide what's going to make you feel successful, what's going to make you thrive without having to feel like I need to do what DC or what Diann is doing. You get to do whatever makes you happy.
That's really beautiful.
Well stated. So what's your latest book that you want to share with us today?
The latest one that came out, it's a little dark comedy, and actually there's not, the poster's right this way behind me. And it actually has nothing to do with fantasy. So it's the Cat Lady special. So this is book 2 in the Cat Lady series. And this is kind of dark humor. So I have to kind of come with this disclaimer. So it's in the press card, Cat Lady Charms Arms Dealer. So for anybody who's interested in some comedy shenanigans, I have Angela and the Silver Hair Gang, who happen to be a group of 70-year-old ladies running towns and guns. The Cat Lady special is actually going to take you into a little bit of murder mystery kind of scenario. You know, they're trying to mind their own business and run this gun shop, and there's a murder. So here we are. Angela wants to mind her own business. The Silver Hair Gang wants to figure out who did this, and there's this mess of madness going on in this small town of Sunshine, Texas.
A lot of things taking place in Texas. I love it.
It's big enough to hold it. I think that's the catch. It's big enough to handle all the madness we got.
There you go.
DC, I was wondering, and Diane and I were talking about this on Amazon. I'm self-published. There's no email, there's no phone call that, hey, you got #1 bestseller, or you got #1 new release. How does it work for USA Today? How did you find out about your award?
So with USA, at least when they were doing this on pause right now, in order for you to manage is you literally target what week you want to do your release. That's kind of the catch. So what used to happen is you release a book on a Tuesday, you have the entire week. So it's almost like the film industry, like they get weekend release that starts on like Thursday all the way up to whatever the ending of the week. So you managed to get, the goal is to get about 5,000 sales. So I was able to do with an amazing group of authors. That was our goal, was to figure out if we can make the list, and we did. And then you find out the list was released on Wednesday. So USA Today used to publish every Wednesday the list of their bestsellers. It's 150 bestsellers, and they're looking for that entire period, and it ends on that Sunday. So unlike Amazon, that you have to refresh your browser every 10 minutes to figure out if it changes, theirs is you get a week period to bring all your sales, all your pre-orders, everything comes into play for that Wednesday kind of notification.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So how did you feel about earning that distinction?
Here's the funny part is, you know, when you work, we work for 9 months on this. And it's probably the hardest thing I have ever done. And I have no issue telling everyone, it's like, I've worked harder on that than I have any other project. And when the notice came in, I was still working. I was doing something. And I get a text and they're like, hey, it happened. And if you ever seen like amazing events, like people just freeze and you're going, oh, I had that look of like complete shock. I was like, I'm sorry, what? Say that in town. And I looked like a scared little kid because I kept going left, right. Like I wanted to scream. I didn't know if I was going to run. I couldn't jump. I was completely in shock. And it took me a minute. And then I'm trying to call my family, because you would think after 9 months of this, and nobody picked up the phone. Like I called everyone. I'm like, you have to be kidding me. Like, this is huge. Why is nobody picking up the phone? I ended up calling my brother and Callie. I was like, why? What's going on? Why is nobody picking up the phone? So it is the first time, I think that Sunday, I ended up with a migraine where it was stressing. Everybody was hustling. Everybody's promoting. Everybody's pushing. For that Wednesday to happen is literally when you realize, I was like, there is no true words to define what 9 months of hard work feels like. And when you hear it, you're like, what? I'm sorry, say that again? This has really happened? Yes, it was incredible and shocking. It's almost right there when you publish your first book and you're going, oh my God, I have a book. And then you want to know what I do.
Congratulations. I love that.
Thank you.
It's fantastic. We do have your website pulled up. Let's take a tour of that. Let me come over here and share my screen. Okay, I'm over here on the website. So tell me where to go.
So a couple of things to make sure. We are going to skip the landing page because it's going to take you to my free book, and it's going to take you out of the whole website. So for anybody who is interested in downloading one of my books, you can get the Origins of Constantine for free directly on my website. Also signs you up for my newsletter. But if you click on it, you automatically just get that page. So right now, I think if you scroll down, I'm promoting usually Judgment Day, because this is the last book in that series. So it gives you kind of that big picture. You can click on the books button. Dr. Jacalyn is doing. So you get to see my books. The fun thing about the website, it is actually done by a group out of London. So specifically for authors, so you can actually sort it by I think I have it sorted by urban fantasies. I have my children's books in there, so you can do it that way as well. Or you can just scroll down and just kind of take a quick look of what I have available. And usually, yes.
DC, what does this organization in London do for you specifically, in case people are interested?
They actually manage my website. So one of the things that I was looking for when I started is a website that people can download a book. And I didn't have to manage multiple things. So they actually manage this entire website in terms of like making sure that the landing pages are connected, that is easy, and that it makes sense. I am very super simple. So I like things as clean as possible. So this company manages the back end of the website.
It's fabulous.
So you get to see a little bit of like the children's book, you get to see my devotionals in there, and you can sort it out in that way as well.
How many books do you have?
Right now I have 19 published. Another World is coming out, so I'm taking that out because I'm rebranding that entire series. So yes.
It's amazing.
Congratulations.
Wow.
And your covers. Oh, your covers are magnificent.
Yeah, they're great.
So my urban fantasy has one massive artist I hired recently. So Christine Giraldi is amazing because she has done all of my urban fantasy. My Cat Lady series is also rebranded to look this way now. So you get a little bit of that. And you have Charlie, who's actually my artist, happens to be my sister-in-law, so I'm cheating. So she's amazing. So yes. So the books would give you kind of a quick look of what to expect in terms of, and that's the part that I kind of let everybody knows I am a multi-genre author. So you get a little bit of everything here. If you don't like fantasy, pick up Cat Lady. So then if you go to my upcoming events, that one's pretty self-explanatory. We actually just got this uploaded this week since I kept trying to figure out where am I doing this year. So I am pretty packed and you can find me pretty much. I'm going to this year for the first time California, so I'm super excited about that. And I'll be in the East Coast as well. So I'm going from one side to the other and a lot of things.
By the way, congratulations on having a website that's up to date. I can't tell you how many times people have websites like, hello, it's 2 years old. No.
This is one of those, here's the part, the website, I feel my website and everybody's website is like the interstate in Texas is never done. So if you have a website, let me explain to you, you're going to be working on this all the time. So hire an assistant because you're going to need it. So this is going to be one of those things. And then if you click on the more button, so you're going to have a little bit about me. So it's me cheesing. There's nothing I can do. I smile all the time. So you can, you cannot miss me. I look like that everywhere. I'm definitely smiling. So you get a little bit of my contact. You also, if you click in there, there's also my podcast is on the website. So for anybody who wants to just kind of like check out the podcast, you actually can check it. You can donate directly. So we figured out how to upload the episodes. So if anybody was looking for it, by the way, Diann was in the podcast as well. So I'm just going to plug that in there while she's here. So you can grab any of the episodes. And the latest one is always going to populate first. So this one came out on Monday. And she happens to be a children's author too.
And you've got Ann Charles. She's been on here before.
She's awesome. So yes.
JP McLean. Yeah. Awesome.
We have about 135 interviews in there. So you can pick it up. And I think the next thing, if you click on the more, is for anybody, there's a link for my interviews and reviews if anybody's curious to kind of figure out where I've been. So, yep.
Fantastic. So a question I have for you is, as a podcast host, what has your experience been?
It probably has been one of the most eye-opening experiences that I had. Because I'm like, you're going to make a podcast. What are you going to make a podcast about? I figured out that I wanted to do something that I didn't mind doing research and spending a lot of time. So I interview authors specifically. So one of the things I do is I have them read their books. So when I first started doing interviews, everybody started talking about a book that nobody's ever heard. Like we all had these conversations and nobody knows what we're talking about. So at least when authors read a book, we all have the same common language. We can all talk about the same thing, which is really fun. So I have literally found out that every day is a new learning experience. You know, none of our stories are the same in terms of how our journey happens. But every single author that I have the pleasure and honor to interview are passionate and they love what they do. And they just want people to read their books. I'm always very excited. When you ask them what their end goal is, nobody says I want to make $1 million. We would like to make $1 million, but everybody wants to connect with people and for people to truly enjoy their stories, which is always a blessing.
Yeah, that's so true. And I think as authors, we'd really like to hear from people as well to know that they did read the book and what they thought about it. And Diane and I were talking about it is challenging to get people to do reviews. I don't know, at least that's my experience. What has your experience been, DC?
I have found out everybody has really good intentions. And then probably like us, like I would do it later, and later just doesn't happen. So when it comes to it, reviews are definitely a catch-22. Like we need them so people can find them. Like the magic number, if anybody didn't know, is 50. Like you need 50 reviews on Amazon for Amazon to start letting the algorithm start feeding you to other people. Hence the reason everybody wants that magic 50 number to get up into the ratings. So it takes time. It also takes a lot of work and a lot of reminding. And I think the fear for a lot of authors is they're looking for positive reviews. They want a whole bunch of 5 stars. It doesn't matter. Because what one person thinks is a negative might be the thing that triggers somebody else to buy the book. So be okay with people having their opinions. Remember, it's an opinion. So I usually try not to get too concerned or attached to reviews. To me, they're very hard because an amazing review is hard to live up to. A negative review will just have you crying. So just let people review. Just remind them to do it.
And by the way, DC, I did not know about the magic number 50. So thank you for sharing that with me. Did you know that, Diane?
If you can get 50 reviews on Amazon, the algorithm will start populating your books to others as well. So that's kind of the magic. I have a co-author that we hang out all the time, and she keeps reminding me. I was like, oh, yes, I forgot. We need to aim for 50. So if you can get 50 reviews on your books, it tends to start triggering more views for the algorithm in Amazon to actually start pushing it out as well. So that's what you're aiming for.
So DC, with the number of books that you've put out, do you hire a marketing firm to actually review? We were talking about you can pay people to review your books. Do you do that? And if so, what's your experience been?
I don't recommend it, if that makes any sense. It sounds really, you're going to get a very one-sided review. Or sometimes what I have seen they have done is that they just take my blurb and use that as part of their review. I'm like, well, that's exciting. What have you done? So when you're looking at it, it's not so much, it's easier to go on a blog tour or go on a book tour. Like I will recommend always getting a publicist because they will send your book out to their own team or they'll send out to the people they know. That's great. In terms of paying somebody to review your books, you're not going to get your money's worth regardless of what they're charging. They're usually going to take either the press release that you send them or they're going to take a quote that you have. They're going to take your blurb and just use that. So that is not always going to get you the most for your money. If you can hire somebody that can do an Instagram tour, or even better, if you can get somebody that can give you a TikTok tour, that would be golden. So for every time you're looking to promote your book, if you can get somebody, like book talkers are amazing, but to get the most out of it, you need to send about 50, different things to get the most out of it. That's usually like kind of the big catch. So you can get probably about 20% return. So that's what you're aiming for.
2020.
Usually you want to, if you do a big book tour and you have a lot of book talkers, be expected that, you're going to be sending out a lot of material. So you have to plan. And you usually get about a 20%, depending on how busy they are, how much time you give them. So the one thing about it, so if authors are not maximizing, when you're thinking of promotion, especially like on Book Talk, it's all about the physical book. You can send an ebook and it's great, but they really want the book. They really want to highlight it. They want to show it off. It's like opening the boxes. So you're looking at taking your time to create the presentation. You don't have to have a lot. So things that I've realized that works really well, like I try to give a message in the book, and I usually have like a fun little cover. So depending on what you're doing, have a postcard, add a bookmark, if you have stickers in there. Those little things you usually add as part of your presentation. If you have a lot of stuff that you're sending out, you can get books made specifically for you to design. Like this, the frame will let you design your own boxes. The catch to any author, especially if you're starting out, is keep an eye on your budget. How much money do you have to market this? How much money do you want to spend? Because all the fun and fancy things you have can get expensive. And if you're in the US, make sure you're using media mail so you can maximize your budget, or else you can be spending a lot of money. So when it comes to promoting your book and getting physical books and the budgeting, that can get tricky. So I'm getting ready to do a street team, something that I haven't done in years. And the catch with my street team is I send it out to my newsletter is you're going to get a physical book. So I'm going to give you the option. You get to pick 1 or 3, whatever you want. So unlike a lot of art teams, like your advanced reader copies where you get a book and the goal is you're sending these arcs for people to review. If you want to review it, amazing. I love you. But if you just want to post on TikTok, if you want to post on Facebook, if you want to post on Instagram, that is okay too. So my goal is to honestly start a very underground word of mouth campaign to everybody. That's really what I'm trying to do. I want people to share it. I want you to, if you don't want to keep the book because you already have it, give it to somebody. So a lot of my people that are joining us like, I haven't heard of this. I'm like, I'm making it up. I'll let you know how it plays, but what are we going to lose? So yes.
Okay. I have 2 questions. What is media mail and what did you say you're doing? Street something or other?
Oh, okay. So media mail. So I think this is the post office greatest secret. So if anybody does not know, so I found out from my post office, I went to mail a book. And you can do book, you can do CD. So think of media itself. And it's actually probably cheaper than anything you can do. So usually as long as you stick with media, I have been able to add like a bookmark in there or a postcard, very paper items. You packet it up. It is actually, they say it usually takes, 3 to 5 days. I've seen it be as fast as, regular mail, but it's usually for a 6x9 book. It might cost you like $3 in mail. So that's something to think about. It is amazing here in the US. It costs you a lot less than you have, and you can ship a lot of stuff, especially your books. If you're doing a lot of marketing campaign anywhere in the US, really affordable.
Wow, that's huge. Because I know I sent some books and it was like, I was sending them outside the United States as well, but it was at least $9, $11 in the States. So that's a huge savings.
Check with your post office, as long, depending on your post office, definitely has to be media related. Like you can't send trinkets or anything, but your books itself, especially if you're shipping, you're looking anywhere between $2 to maybe $4. I think the most I have paid to ship a book has been $4.
I love it. Now, do you I don't know if the word's register, let's go with register, your books with the Library of Congress?
I do.
What's the value, the advantage of that?
A lot of the times libraries can find you that way as well. So one of the things you're looking at it, you want to do your copyright laws and you want to protect your book. By registering your book, anybody can find it as well. So you have more visibility. The one thing about it when it comes to the writing process and getting out there, there's so many books being published every single day that we have a lot more, not competition. I don't want to say competition. So I don't think authors compete, but it's harder to get eyeballs in our work. So you're trying to do as much as possible. So by registering, it gives you visibility as well. So librarians can do it. One of the things that I have found out, if you're doing a wide, so if you're exclusive, biggest things for everybody, exclusive applies specifically for ebook. If you're wide, which means you're open not just to one platform, some of the vendors, some like drafted digitals, you are able to get in some libraries and sometimes you wouldn't get to.
Good to know. I love all these tips you're giving today.
Yeah, they're great. Go ahead and tell us, when you said your street venue, is that where people come out and they dance and promote your book?
It would be amazing. If I could get a street team that was dancing, that would be even better. So no. That'd be so cool. So street team is another word for your own art team. If I think that's the best way to put it. But because I'm not just doing advanced readers copies, I'm going to be doing think of a promotion campaign, but specifically to my own individual groups. I'm looking to have anywhere from 20 to 40 people that will be getting mail. So it's called a street team because their goal is to go and promote you. So they're going to promote you, whether they're going to do it to their friends or they're going to post it online. So the goal is to be very specific and targeted what you're trying to do. So for me, my goal is to word of mouth. That's what we're aiming for. I want people to have flexibility. I know I'm usually very much like when people's like, hey, can you leave a review? I'm like, I don't have enough time. And that's something that I wanted to take away. So most people don't realize that you don't have to leave a review. You can just leave a rating. You can do all these things. So for the street team's goal is to spread the word, to be able to say, hey, what book do you like? Do you want to give a book away? Do you want to share a book? Do you want to take a picture with the book? Tag me. So the goal is we're going to do about 3 releases throughout the year. And everybody has to post within one time frame. So it's my way, kind of give or take, to have the algorithm trending. I want the book, whatever it might be, and it might just be DC Gomez, author, trending for a week or so. because the more that the algorithm picks up your name, the more other people tend to pick it up. So you want to be able to have a trending system that people can kind of be like, oh. So think about it this way. We're all very mood readers. We're mood shoppers. If you see something multiple times, it might hit you in the right mood and you might want to pick up the book.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, I love
I never
that.
heard of that. I love it.
I like mail, so I want somebody to get something besides a bill, or like, you know, I get a whole bunch. Think about it. You get a whole bunch of stuff in the mail, like junk mail. Somebody's trying to sell you something. Imagine getting a book from an author that you follow, that you enjoy, and there's no, honestly, too hard of a commitment. Like you sign up for this, somebody said you, and you get to open this really cool package because everybody wants to have book open. You know, everybody wants to have book mail. If you're on TikTok, that's the thing. We all want to have book mail and book mail to be fabulously fun. You get to open this. You get to share with your friends. I ended up getting envelopes that have the giant reaper on it. So everybody's like, oh my God, I like the envelope. How do I reuse it? I'm like, I don't think envelopes work that way. But it's super fun. I know, I had to laugh. It's like, I don't think that works that way. You can keep the envelope because it's gorgeous reaper, but I don't think you can reuse it. So it is, how I give you back. How do I share you? How do I make you part of my tribe? And then that you feel enough love that you're like, you know what? You should go meet this girl. She's a little nutty, but it's going to be so much fun. So yes.
I love your passion.
Yeah, your passion's amazing. What I love about you is when you were sharing at the beginning, you know, what you were going to do, you know, and it was part of your creative soul, but how can I make it a business? You said, you asked yourself, and look at you now. Like,
Woo!
you have a seminar for all of us.
It's one of the weirdest things because you have to define what success means to you. And then you have to be realistic. Am I running a hobby or am I running a business? So things that this year is all about exploration. It's very much going, what am I trying to do? So my goal this year is to honestly convert 100 readers to super fans. Like I want them to feel that they're part of this tribe. So I'm doing lots of face-to-face events. I understand it's not a fast business. I think that's the part that would get confused. And like, if somebody would have told me this 6 years ago, like, it's going to take you this long to get here, I would have been like, God, I need another hobby. But to make it a business, yeah, if somebody tells you this with all the steps that you have to do, you would have think twice about it. I'm like, I should start basket weaving. You know, you would have thought of something else. But there comes with something that nothing can take away is when you first meet a child or you meet a reader and they're telling you they love these characters of yours and you're having that discussion, you honestly have that moment that going, oh my God, that happened. Like that officially happened. This story connected. People want to know more about it. And you treat it with that same passion and respect for your readers as you do anything else. The best quote I ever heard that I was told by another writer is like, yes, we write for ourselves, but we publish for others. So when you always remember you're publishing for readers, then you treat it as that business and you give them the best that you can. Is it going to be 100% perfect? It's not. We're humans. And we don't have a team of 50 people. So we're going to do the best. And every single time it should get better.
What would you say, DC, to as a mentor, really, to people out there who have something written, but it's not been published and they just don't think it's good enough?
Sometimes, believe it or not, the hardest thing is just to publish it because it's not going to be perfect. So if you're still not sure, you're like, oh, it's not good enough, get somebody else. Please do not get a family member because they're either going to tell you they love you or they're going to hate it. And you're going to be crushed either way. So get somebody who reads in your genre. So you need to have somebody that enjoys that style of writing and just have them tell them. You don't even have to tell them you wrote it. You're like, hey, I came across this story. Can you read this and tell me what you think? You can have that. And honestly, get some feedback in terms of not the grammar, not the punctuation, not that, but what is that story meant for them? Because that's really what your beta reader should be doing, is telling you, did this story connect it? Could I suspend my disbelief enough? And if the story is, if they tell you yes, go for it. Because a lot of the times what I see is people waiting for this train called perfection to come in, and they never do it. Or they get stuck by, analysis by paralysis, or they do millions of research, and you're going, stop researching, just write the book, publish the book, just hit go. Do it. It's okay. Because we want to be perfect. And here's my favorite story. Everybody compares themselves to Stephen King. Guess what? Everybody compares to Stephen King now. The man who's been writing for 50 years, the man who's who writes 4 hours a day, every day, 7 days a week. has been doing this for 50 years. Nobody wants to be Stephen King 50 years ago when he was living in a small apartment, trailer, writing in his laundry room with 2 kids and a wife. Nobody wants to be that guy. Nobody wants to be the guy that the most famous movie manuscript got thrown in the trash because he was burned out. Nobody wants to be that guy. We want to be the guy now. It's like everybody starts somewhere. Be okay starting and just take a leap. Sometimes that's the hardest part.
It's so true. If we think about all the people we know, or even us at times in our life when we just were living with that imposter syndrome or everything had to be perfect and we never did anything. If you don't do it, you're not going to know. Stop talking about it. Just do it. That's how I feel like it.
It's hard. It is so hard to honestly suspend our own disbelief that we're meant to do this. And even if we're stuck in a project, think about it, ladies. When you're writing and that project's not flowing, we start questioning ourselves. Like, I'm just not a good enough writer. I'm not meant to be. I'm not doing this right. You're going, whoa, what happened? Like, how did we get there? And sometimes we have to give ourselves grace to say, maybe this is not my project. It will be okay. And just give ourselves the grace to be fine where we're at.
Absolutely. I love that.
Be fine where you're at. Absolutely.
Now, if somebody's out there and they are a published author and they want to be on your podcast, is it open to the public or how does that work?
It is. Everybody. So usually what I kind of tell everybody, because I'm still running my own little small world domination team, that's really taking way too long to take off by the looks of it. So I tell everybody, you can send me an email, tell me what the book's about, kind of pitch it. I open it probably by season specifically, just because I realized when I opened the whole year, people forgot, and then I had a whole bunch of no shows. There is a $25 reservation fee to help cover the editing costs, because I realized editing, it's a lot more expensive than I actually gave myself credit. So yeah, one of my goals for everybody, this is what I tell every author, I want you to sound amazing. I want you to be able to put your best foot forth. And it's really hard to do a book reading. We all get nervous. We all get very traumatized. So just read the book. I'll clean it in the back. Don't worry about it. So I tend to make sure that my authors who come in, whether you are a award winner, USA Today bestseller, or you're just, releasing your first book, I want you to have the same experience. And I want you to know that we love you. Because when I started writing, nobody wanted to hear about a new book from an unknown author. Nobody cared. Nobody had any clue who I was. So I want to give people opportunity. The only thing is, the podcast comes live on Mondays. Guess what? There's only 52 weeks in a year, so I can only feature so many authors. So that's the only hard thing. Other than that, it's a lot of fun.
Well, we're so happy to have you here, DC. What's the best way for people to reach out to you, whether it's to get some mentorship or if it's to purchase your books, maybe to join your team, and who would you like to reach out?
They can send it. They can check my website. There is an email button there. You can send me an email directly. You can literally download the book and sign up for the newsletter. There are easy ways to do it. If you are on social media, so everybody doesn't go to a website. So if you're on social media right now, believe it or not, you can find me on Instagram. I am on TikTok, still trying to figure it out the whole entire world, but it's there. My handle is usually the same as dcgomez.author. I am on Facebook under the same thing. So I'm easily accessible. I think I finally put my website on Amazon. So if you go to my Amazon author bio, you can pick it up there. So you guys can send me a message. I'm here. I'm interested. I was very, very blessed when I started writing to have mentors who were in the field already, who were doing amazing things, just take me under their wing. So when I meet new authors who want to do the same, sometimes the advice is a little hard because nobody wants to hear that it's going to take some work. But I want people to succeed and just dream and write your book and know that you're meant for greatness.
Absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much. Diann, how can people reach out to you and who would you like to contact you?
Sure. You can reach me at DIANNFLOYDBOEHM, DIANNFLOYDBOEHM.com. And DC, it's been so wonderful to have you here.
I'm so grateful, ladies. Thank you so much for having me. It's always an honor. I'm very, very grateful, and it's so much more fun. So yes, thank you.
Thank you. And we invite you to come back. We have about 30 live shows a week. So do come back and share with us on some of our other shows with our other audiences as well. So thank you. And thanks to each and every one of you out there. Our next show is coming right up. It's The Wise Ones with Mr. Red O'Loughlin. So do stay tuned wherever it is you're watching from. That'll be followed by Talking Heads. Thanks again. Bye. Bye, DC. Bye, Diann.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.